Hi, I'm Bruce Wells. I teach in the Middle Eastern Studies Department at the University of Texas at Austin. And the question right now is, what's so cool about the Neo-Babylonian Empire? Well, what is the Neo-Babylonian Empire? Well, it's not the old Babylonian Empire, that's for sure. It's the one that came later in the 600s and 500s BCE. The most famous king from the Neo-Babylonian Empire is also mentioned in the Bible. You may have heard his name. In English, we say Nebuchadnezzar. In Babylonian, they would have said Nabu-Kudurru-Utsur, or something like that, which means, may the god Nabu protect the heir, meaning the heir to the throne. So his father may have named him that because he wanted Nebuchadnezzar to inherit the Babylonian throne when the father passed away, and that's what happened. Nebuchadnezzar did indeed inherit the throne, and he made a lot of important changes in Babylonia at the time. He was responsible first for conquering the Assyrian Empire up in the north. So Babylonian is located in central and southern Iraq. That's what we would call it today. The Assyrians were north of there in northern Iraq. Nebuchadnezzar conquers them. He also goes off to the west and conquers some small territories over there, including the territory of Judah, which was in ancient Israel, and the story about Nebuchadnezzar conquering Judah is what's in the Bible. Nebuchadnezzar has a long reign of more than 40 years. He gets the economy in Babylonia to grow like crazy. He brings some of the peoples he's conquered back to Babylonia. He doesn't turn them into slaves, but he does give them land for them to be farmers on, because Babylonia needs more food. The economy is growing, the population is growing, and he wants to build up his country. One of the reasons that the economy was growing is that people started planting more fruit orchards. And the favorite orchard that they planted had date palms in it. And people created more date orchards in Babylonia because dates produced more food per unit of land. You could grow a lot more food with dates on a small piece of land than you could trying to grow wheat or barley. So people had more food to eat. It was actually more nutritious. You got more nutrition out of dates than you just got out of regular barley. Nebuchadnezzar did a lot of building projects, so he had to hire people. That created a big workforce in Babylonia. And silver, they used silver as money, and it started to show up all over the country. Even poor people were able to get some amount of silver and use it to buy things like clothing and even combs that they could use to comb their hair. And this kind of economy hadn't been seen in the ancient world, I don't think, ever. It's one of the most prosperous times in the ancient world before you get to the Roman Empire. Now, things got a little rocky after Nebuchadnezzar got off the throne. When he dies, his son takes over as king, but only for 2 years. Because after 2 years, another guy decides he wants to be king, and he murders Nebuchadnezzar's son. Who's this other guy? He is Nebuchadnezzar's son-in-law. He married one of Nebuchadnezzar's daughters. He's not getting along with Nebuchadnezzar's son. He decides to murder him. He becomes king. He reigns for a few years. And then there's another guy, not related at all to Nebuchadnezzar's family, who decides to take over from him, and he becomes king, and his name is Nabonidus. Now, Nabonidus is not mentioned in the Bible, but his son is mentioned in the Bible. His son is named Belshazzar and is mentioned in the book of Daniel. Nabonidus is king for about 17 years, but for part of that time, he leaves Babylon, the city, the capital city, and Babylonia, the country, and he goes off to the Arabian desert and lives there for 10 years and leaves his son, Belshazzar, in charge of the whole kingdom. We don't know if people took advantage of Belshazzar because he was young and inexperienced, but we know that when Nabonidus comes back and takes over his kingdom again, he has to make certain changes, because people were not happy that he left for such a long time. Eventually, the Babylonians lose to another people group from the east known as the Persians. They come in and conquer Babylon in 539 BCE. So the Neo-Babylonian kingdom or empire lasted from about 625 to 539. That's 60 plus 25, 85 years, and was one of the most prosperous times that we know about in the ancient Middle East before the Roman Empire.